Indeed, we are apolitical, but when it comes to the complainant, we also don't discriminate whether a complainant belongs to a political party or not. So there are 4 dockets that have been opened by different people, maybe from different political parties, that concern some individuals that may have crossed the border to go and communicate some of the things that are perceived to be in the direction of high treason.
I don't think it's incorrect for us to say Afriforum.
No, I don't want to mention the names of organization, but as you correctly say, there are some organizations that are suspected to be involved, but certain complainants have indicated that this and that organization seems to be the ones that are actually advocating something that appear to be high treason. We are investigating, is at the initial stage of the investigation. Those type of crimes, you need to be careful in the way in which you collect that evidence.
Treason is a criminal offense. It existed even in common law. It's when, as I have said, the definition was carefully read out. But treason has been committed, we contend, by them because they are plotting against our government. First of all, they lied and said their farms have been confiscated and there have been killings and their land was confiscated, which is not true to begin with. So based on that lies, those fraudulent misrepresentations, Trump decided to issue an executive order against South Africa. One would have thought Trump, who is civilized enough to understand that we have an embassy in South Africa, he was going to use diplomatic channels to engage with his counterpart. That did not happen. If anything, it reinforces that we are not treated by America as an equal partner, but we are treated like little boys, and that we resist, that we hate being treated like little boys in our own land.
Was committed.
There are 4 dockets that have been opened by different people, maybe from different political parties, that concern some individuals that may have crossed the border to go and communicate some of the things that are perceived to be in the direction of high treason. I don't want to mention the names of organizations, but as you correctly say, there are some organizations that are suspected to be involved, but certain complainants have indicated that this and that organization seems to be the ones that are actually advocating something that appear to be high treason. We are investigating, is at the initial stage of the investigation. Those type of crimes, you need to be careful in the way in which you collect that evidence.
And if sufficient evidence exists, arrests could follow.
When the time comes, at the conclusion of the investigation, the National Prosecuting Authority will determine as to whether with what we have collected is sufficient for anyone to be secured before court. On our own, we do not just go and arrest, and then when we arrive at court, we find that no, there is nothing that these individuals have to answer. So we are working closely with the National Prosecuting Authority to check as to whether the content of the affidavits that we shall have put together, as well as other material evidence, is sufficient for the NPA to make a decision to proceed with the prosecution.
And if it is so, indeed, if that evidence then points to any acts of high treason, I guess, then of course, based on that, that's what you're saying, based on that, then arrests would be affected.
Yeah, if there is evidence and then the National Prosecuting Authority direct that we need to secure the attendance of the accused, we don't discriminate. Anyone who commits crime must know that we will be doing that without fear. favor or prejudice.
Welebea was speaking during South Africa's national strategy to prevent and combat
we emphasize it is Black Forum's positionality that Afriforum must be charged for the crime, for committing crime of treason, because what they have done qualifies to be a crime of treason. You will remember that there are certain acts which, if a person can do, will qualify as a crime of treason, and Afriforum has done one of them. First one is overthrowing of the state. The second one could be coercing a government in a violent manner to act or not to act on a particular issues. The third one is constitutional, pushing for the constitutional change or changing the constitutional structure of a particular country. But the one which we feel like is more relevant to the Afriforum is the threatening the independence of the state by, going to America, powerful foreign nation, to lie and command them to, intimidate, threatens the Republic of South Africa, so that from now going forward, we'll be scared to pass legislations in the country which are, addressing the past imbalances of the past, because we'll be scared of the powerful foreign nations like America. Therefore, their act qualifies on threatening us to lose our independence as a country, as a state, at the current moment.
Okay.
We are trying to save the country from a disaster with regard to disrespect for property.
Against the Afriforum, based on what they have done. You recall that there is an executive order which Donald Trump, the American president, has now issued against South Africa following the intervention that was made by the Afriforum. That's just by way of background. We have just opened a criminal case against Afriforum because we want them to be prosecuted.
The CEO of Afriforum, Kali Kriel. Mr. Kriel, before we have this conversation, I'd just like you to quickly just listen to what the Hawks had to say again, and I'd like your reaction to that.
There are 4 dockets that have been opened by different people, maybe from different political parties, that concern some individuals that may have crossed the border to go and communicate some of the things that are perceived to be in the direction of high treason.
All right, Mr. Kriel, good afternoon to you. What's your reaction? Do you think they're talking about you?
Good afternoon to you, ma'am, and you're welcome to just call me Kali. Well, I think it's obvious he's speaking about us, but I must say from the start, I'm not having any sleepless nights because, of course, we know that these complaints are baseless. If anybody is disloyal to this country, then, of course, it is ANC leaders through their irresponsible policies. From our side, we are trying to save the country from a disaster with regard to disrespect for property rights. So we are confident to be able to go to court. Actually, court would give us an opportunity to state our case and show the world and show South Africa how disloyal the ANC leaders are. And then, of course, it would, yes.
One would then say, for example, just before we get into other issues, I'm listening to you say that you're prepared to go to court because you've got confidence in the courts. One would then ask that, could you not perhaps have gone this route to challenge the act before you decided to go across the borders?
Well, the fact is, we wrote to the president in April already last year to ask him not to sign this act and refer it back to Parliament. We also negotiated with a team mandated by the president with regard to specifically the Bella Act. And we were simply met with disdain. We were ignored. And when there was an agreement, the president simply denied mandating people to negotiate with us. So in that sense, we would have loved to find local solutions. But if the government is going to act like that, if the presidential spokesperson is saying he refuses or the president refuses to speak to us, we will not take that line.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jones. Why Not TV. Please subscribe. Bye for now till we meet again next time. Subscribe, please. Don't forget to like and to comment. Thank you very much.
Dr. Jones, Why Not TV.
Goodbye till we meet again next time. Subscribe.